Maharashtra's politics has been churning since 2019, and by the looks of it, this chapter in the state's political history is far from conclusion. The current drama is surrounding the Nationalist Congress Party and especially opposition leader Ajit Pawar and his moves, as well as NCP President Sharad Pawar's cryptic responses to his moves and actions. I am Manasi Phadke, Deputy Editor with The Print from Mumbai, and joining me from Delhi is our political editor DK Singh. And we are trying to make sense of exactly what's happening with the NCP, the Pawar brand of politics, and because it lent itself to wordplay, Pawar play, and how it's a nightmare for Maharashtra's bookies. So to begin with, I would like to pull in DK in the discussion by asking, what do you think is exactly going on? There are all kinds of theories that are being thrown that the NCP might join the BJP. Ajit Pawar could split the NCP. Ajit Pawar is probably just bargaining for more power within his own party. What do you think is at play over here?
Mansi, there is definitely no smoke without fire. Something is happening, but the point is, I don't really see Ajit Pawar ditching Sharad Pawar at some point of time. Even if we have been discussing, we discussed this morning also, and as we have arrived at, what we have arrived at is, even if there is some kind of disquiet in the NCP, there may be a lot of pressure from central agencies, and of course, next month in May, Supreme Court may give its ruling on the disqualification of MLAs. That may make the government a bit unstable. And the BJP may like Ajit Pawar and some NCP MLAs to be on its side if the need be. Having said that, Ajit Pawar revolting against Sharad Pawar does not really make much sense for me. Because what did he get in return? See, we saw what happened in 2019 when he was sworn in as deputy CM in the wee hours.
Right.
When the negotiations were on for that MBA. Even then, Ajit Pawar could muster what, 4-5 MLAs at best. He didn't have the support of the MLAs. And right now, Sharad Pawar at 82, he's in full grip of his organization. As long as he is in full control, you don't really see any en masse defections by NCP MLAs. They won't do that. So what does Ajit Pawar get in return? And we were talking with the BJP leaders. BJP leaders are very clear. Because if they bring Ajit Pawar along with some MLAs to the BJP, forget about the anti-defection law. Even if Ajit Pawar is coming with some MLAs to the BJP, Eknath Shinde camp has already declared that they'll pull out if that happens. So that is not going to happen. What the BJP is looking at is for Ajit Pawar to merge with the party, to basically join the party. Ajit Pawar does not get anything out of that. Because he's a big fish. It is maybe in a small pond, but he becomes a very small fish in an ocean.
Absolutely.
He doesn't gain anything out of that. Besides, if he stays in NCP, Sharad Pawar may be as active as he is nowadays for maybe next 2-3 years. After that, Ajit Pawar, given his grip on his MLAs and the organization, Ajit Pawar will definitely become his successor. It will be a very smooth transition. I don't really see any challenge coming to him if he stays in NCP. Look at the larger point also. Given how the Congress is in today's Maharashtra, you really see further decline of the Congress, and NCP occupies that opposition space.
Right.
Why would Ajit Pawar abandon that? Because that is what Sharad Pawar may also be looking at. You have this Hindutva space, BJP space, Shiv Sena space, Uddhav Thackeray Sena, of course. On the other side, the so-called secular space will be up for grabs once the way the Congress is declining. NCP is there to gain. And how we look at it in the next 10 years, probably you will have something like BJP versus NCP game in Maharashtra. Why would Ajit Pawar jettison all that? Point number one. Second, I think even if at some point of time he's forced to take a call and switch the camp, I would say that won't be without an implicit understanding with his uncle.
Right.
In 2019 also, the way we saw it, he came back and he was made the deputy chief minister again. And we have been hearing Devendra Fadnavis claiming so many times that, this entire move had the blessing of Sharad Pawar, although Sharad Pawar has been denying it. But the fact that he came back and was brought back as deputy chief minister again in the MVA government, that tells you a lot of things. When it comes to Sharad Pawar, you do not rule out anything. Look at his record. I mean, in 1978, he stabilized Vasantdada Patil government to become the chief minister. And by 1988, you have the same Vasantdada Patil who is lobbying for Sharad Pawar
Right.
for the chief minister. In 1980, it's, in 78 also, he joined hands with the Janata Party. Chandrasekhar was the one who wanted to give him a key role in that government after he destabilized Vasundhara Party. From Chandrasekhar, you come to Indira Gandhi. In 1980, Indira Gandhi dismisses him. By 1988, he's back in the Congress. Then, with the backing of Vasundhara Party, Rajiv Gandhi sends him to Maharashtra as the chief minister again. And then you again see Narasimha Rao sending him to Maharashtra for the third time as chief minister. And then comes Sonia Gandhi. You have the UPA government. Then he is there as a Union Agriculture Minister, a very powerful cabinet minister in the Manmohan Singh government too. So, he knows, Sharad Pawar knows how to be at the right place at the right time for the power play. He has been doing it all his life.
Right, opportunist, basically. I mean, the NCP has been an opportunistic party in that sense.
And we know who rules the roost nowadays at the center. So with the BJP also, I don't really see him, cutting off all ties because of ideological reasons as such. Because he himself, if you have read his autobiography On My Terms, where he is saying that, he does not have any concept of political untouchability. He's fine with everyone. He was a friend of Bal Thackeray also. He was a friend of Narendra Modi even when he was the chief minister. So he won't really have any issues as such. So what Sharad Pawar says today and does today, for us, it's very difficult to predict. Right. He's not somebody like, say, Pranab Mukherjee. So Pranab Mukherjee, once he told me, so Indira Gandhi really trusted him. And Pranab Mukherjee would say, talking about that trust, he would say that whenever somebody would ask Indiraji that what would Pranab Mukherjee do? Indira would tell them that, Pranab Mukherjee is somebody like if you hit his head with a hammer, all that would come out was smoke. Smoke a pipe in those days and nothing else. So until Sharad Pawar does or says something which he wants to say, we won't really come to know about his real game plan.
Right.
And anyway, Mansi, because the entire day yesterday you were talking with NCP leaders, meeting them, if you can share your insight into this entire thing.
There is definitely, everybody is of the view that there is definitely something happening. There have been discussions. NCP leaders say they are under tremendous pressure from central agencies. Not just them, they fear that their families are likely to be targeted. To what extent can they bear the pressure? Can every individual MLA bear the pressure is the question. Another question is, I mean, we spoke about Ajit Pawar's position within the NCP. But there are questions being raised about the NCP's position in a post-Pawar era. How relevant will the NCP be if Sharad Pawar is no longer as active in politics as he is now? That is the question that is playing on several MLAs' minds. But they also say that immediately something happening is unlikely. However, I mean, all of this is basically working towards 2024. And there could be several permutations and combinations that one cannot predict right now. But as you rightly said, they are also of the opinion that right now, if Ajit Pawar were to leave with 70% of the MLAs in the party, it would be like handing over victory to Sharad Pawar on a platter. I mean, given the fact that there is already a huge wave of sympathy for Sharad Pawar. He's a politician who's 84 years old. He's somebody who travels more than any other politician in Maharashtra. His day starts in Pune, afternoon maybe in Jalgaon, evening he'll be in Mumbai, and that is every single day of his life. Plus, he has had this history of ailments, and he's working, through it. So, in such a situation, if the BJP doing what it did to Uddhav Thackeray to Sharad Pawar will not just reflect very badly on the MLAs who leave Sharad Pawar, but badly on the BJP itself. So that's the reason a split happening now is being ruled out of question. But what do you think about when we are talking about what the fear of these MLAs, that what will happen in a post-Pawar era? Where will the NCP be? Will it be nationally relevant in the state? Yes, of course, it is the most relevant opposition party right now. How do you see that working out?
See, Ajit Pawar, you have not really seen him having any national ambitions as such.
Absolutely.
It's Supriya Sule, Sharad Pawar's daughter, who is pretty active here. So nationally, I don't really see NCP being as relevant and important as it is today. Right now, it's more driven by Sharad Pawar's personality. Post Sharad Pawar, today, how many MPs do they have? Just 4 Lok Sabha MPs. And you don't know what's going to happen in the next Lok Sabha election. Nationally, I don't see much happening in the absence of Sharad Pawar, but yes, in the state and the NCP will continue to be relevant, as you have just said, because Ajit Pawar is a very, very sharp organization person. His organizational acumen is acknowledged by one and all.
Right. And Sharad Pawar, as you rightly pointed out, he literally brought the era of coalition politics in Maharashtra. He's credited for that. And what Ajit Pawar is doing right now, keeping his relations with everybody smooth and with his cryptic actions, keeping all doors open. Many are drawing parallels to his uncle. But are there any intrinsic differences between the politics of the uncle and nephew?
The difference between the two is, in terms of their political maneuverability, I would say. So Sharad Pawar, you see, he has his friends in all parties. You have really seen that trait in Ajit Pawar. Although he's deputy chief minister for several terms, he did not really show any inclination to, take everybody along. Although he's even today, as you see, he's pretty friendly with Devin Fadnavis. But it's just that one-on-one thing. It's not like Sharad Pawar having friends in every party. But that's also because
Right.
Sharad Pawar has been in politics since, he became an MLA way back in 1967. So he has spent those many decades. But he has had that national stature. Ajit Pawar don't have. That will be one difference, I would say. Secondly, as you were just pointing out about this ideological commitment, Sharad Pawar, as you said, that he is ideologically more committed against the BJP. But there I have an issue. As I have just said, everything is about, as his autobiography is titled, On My Terms.
Right.
As long as it's on his terms, it's all fine. Ideology is not the issue. In fact, I remember one anecdote. I think it was in 1962 or sometime when Sharad Pawar was in the Youth Congress, and YB Chavan had come to Baramati for a meeting. Sharad Pawar took him to his home, and Chavan met Pawar's mother. And Pawar had 10 siblings. They had 7 brothers, 4 sisters. And all of them believed in the leftist ideology. They were part of PWP, that Peasants
Peasants and Workers Party.
So when YB Chavan went to his house, he asked his mother, "Why don't you spare Sharad Pawar for me?" She said, "The entire family is leftist, but Sharad seems to be going the other way. So, okay, fine, I'm fine with that." So even in a family of 11 brothers and sisters, he was the one who chose a path which led to power. With PWP, you did not have much future there. He looks at politics in a very long term.
Right.
And we have seen also, he has been successful also. With Ajit Pawar, we have not seen much of him also because he has been totally centered around NCP and its politics and in Maharashtra. Maybe he has all these qualities, but we are yet to see them.
Right.
What is your take?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that. You can see it's not just friends across political parties, but Sharad Pawar is very pally with literally everybody who matters, whether it's industrialists, whether it's people from the entertainment industry, people from the agro-business industries. I mean, he has kept all those bridges intact, and they may or may not be related to his political machinations at any point of time. Also, Ajit Pawar is somebody who is much more aggressive and shrewd in the way he deals with his followers, his karyakartas. I wouldn't say Sharad Pawar is shrewd he's shrewd, of course, but he's not shrewd to the point of being rude at times, which Ajit Pawar could be. And his followers don't really mind it because that's how Ajit Pawar is. And yes, of course, nationally, the national ambitions that you pointed out, we've not seen them in Ajit Pawar at all, but it could be that he has resigned to the fact that he wants to be in the state and lead the state. And Supriya Sue is very comfortable, representing NCP in the Lok Sabha. So maybe he's leaving that space for her.
She shows her father's traits, in terms of our equations across party lines. When she's in the Central Hall of Parliament, you will find her having a lunch with everybody.
Right.
All these young party MPs and young MPs from different parties, they would all be coming to her, and she would be getting things from home for all of them. They would all be going out for lunch and dinners, lunches and dinners, and they are MPs across party lines. So yes, she does have that, those qualities that her father has.
Mm. Right. We'll take a question from one of our viewers, Aditya. He asks if Sharad Pawar decides to collaborate with the NDA, which is BJP and Eknath Shinde particularly, then will Congress continue to stay with Uddhav Thackeray, or will they part away, seeing that there is no real future in the MBA now?
First of all, I don't really see that happening.
Hmm.
Although it's, and I'm not saying that because of ideological reasons. Because ideology, as we just discussed, he says he does not believe in political untouchability, and he actually sees friendship through personal qualities, not through political leanings.
Hmm.
And we have seen that quality all through his life. So it's not that ideology would be an issue. But politically, as I said, it does not suit him because NCP has a lot of scope to expand in Maharashtra now that Congress is declining. And Sharad Pawar must be looking at that. So he's ideologically not that hardcore, I would say. Some not somebody like Rahul Gandhi that okay, ideologically committed against the RSS, against the BJP. So he's pretty flexible. So that's not just that because of political reasons, because the BJP has a lot of scope to expand Maharashtra. He won't go with that. He may have some understanding with them implicitly, but not directly. I don't see that happening. But hypothetically, if that happens, the Sindh does not have much left, and many things will also depend on what happens to the Supreme Court next month. Because right now he's on a very strong wicket. If his MLAs are disqualified and they have to go back to the electorate, Sindh will be on a much weaker wicket.
Absolutely.
And then probably he may not have much leg room to maneuver things here in this.
Right, but that's a big if. I mean, everything hinges on which way the Supreme Court ruling goes. Yes. But in a hypothetical situation, if Sharad Pawar was not there, then do you think that the Shiv Sena, Uddhav Sahib Thackeray and Congress would find reasons to stay together?
Well, as long as Rahul Gandhi is in play, I won't really predict anything because we have seen, you saw even Indira Gandhi meeting Bala Sahib Thackeray.
Right.
And then you saw the Shiv Sena then supporting the emergency. But somebody could argue that okay, then Bala Sahib Thackeray had not tilted towards Hindutva. It was more about nativism. But yet, Indira Gandhi meeting Bala Sahib Thackeray even then was a big deal. She was flexible. Rahul Gandhi is not showing much flexibility, although, and we know how he was against this MBA from day one, and he had a lot of reservations against Shiv Sena. Although he has come to, or he looks like being resigned to this in Maharashtra for now, but we never know what happens in future because we are talking about Rahul Gandhi, and he is very much in play.
Right. Another question again with, I mean, this all again hinges, everything is speculative here because it all hinges on which way the Supreme Court goes in the near term. But say if Ajit Pawar joins the BJP Shiv Sena alliance, this question is by Priyank Upadhyay. Will there be a second deputy chief minister in the current government with finance ministry like Ajit Pawar had done in some earlier governments during the UPA?
I don't really see that happening. That would mean undermining Devendra Fadnavis, and you cannot have two so powerful deputy chief ministers.
The chief minister will be strangulated completely.
Today's deputy chief minister is running the show, just as the former deputy CM Ajit Pawar was running the show when Uddhav Thackeray was the chief minister. So you cannot see both of them coming together as deputy chief minister. Just imagine what will happen to Shinde.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Aditya has another question. If Ajit Pawar decides to collate with BJP and Eknath Shinde, will it have any impact on the BMC elections? BMC elections per se, I would say that the NCP has very little presence in Mumbai as such anyway.
So we have just 8 councillors in a house of 227?
Yeah, I mean, but beyond BMC, there are all other municipal corporations elections that will be happening at the same time. So it's actually, the question is beyond BMC elections, urban local body elections, which almost will seem like a mini assembly poll. In that situation, even if Ajit Pawar doesn't decide to join the BJP Shiv Sena right now, I feel like even if the BJP does keep the speculation on by its the BJP's leaders can keep making statements, and everybody will be reading appropriately or more into Ajit Pawar's actions at the same time. So even if this mystery of what is he likely to do and are MLAs of the NCP likely to defect, if this mystery is kept alive till that time when the elections are held, it will still dent the MBA's prospects, because nobody wants to vote for a front where you think that you're voting for somebody and then 2 months later that front may not remain as it is. So I think that BJP's best case scenario is to at least aim at this, that keep the confusion and the speculation alive to such an extent that the MBA kind of crumbles on its own in minds of the voters at least. What do you think about that?
As for the BMC, I don't know, Mansi, NCP, I think had just 1 out of 36 MLAs in Mumbai.
MLAs.
Yeah, NCP had just 1 MLA out of 36.
Yeah, normal.
Councillors. So BMC is but only last year I was looking at it. Last year, I think there was some conference or convention where the BJP planned to win at least, NCP planned to win at least 60, 62 wards in Mumbai. But I don't know what happened to those plans, because after that I never heard anything about that.
They have a convention going on in Mumbai where basically all leaders are coming, and Ajit Pawar will not be attending this one, but it would be to directly address cadres of its Mumbai wing and boost the cadres' morale, etc., etc. So, another question that we have from Shayantan is, what is the sense on the ground for state elections? Is there any sympathy with Uddhav Thackeray or Shinde BJP combined gaining ground?
Mansi, you would know better. You were there. You should answer.
I would actually say this is a tricky one, but let's take a look at it from the point of view of everything, all the smaller elections that have happened in the past 2 years since the MBA was formed. Most of the by-elections, we have seen that if the Mahavikas Aghadi stays together, then numerically they are at an advantage. The first by-election, not the by-election, but the first poll that had happened was the MLC Teachers and Graduates Constituency election to, I think, 5 seats or 6 seats. 6 seats, and MBA won 4 of the 6 by just being united and ensuring that there is no rebellion. Then the first bypoll that had happened was in Pandharpur Mangalveda in 2021, which the BJP won, which is when people started thinking about whether the MBA's strength is being overhyped for all its worth. But then we had another bypoll the same year in 2021 at the Deglur Biloli seat, which Ashok Savan, because this falls in the Nanded district, Ashok Savan was in charge of its preparations and campaigning, etc., and which the MVA won. Then 2022, again, Kolhapur North, the MVA won the bypoll against the BJP. The same year, there was a bypoll in Andheri East, which was the first one immediately after the split within the Shiv Sena, and the widow of the widow of the incumbent Shiv Sena MLA was standing for elections, and all the other parties decided to withdraw towards the end. So that is how the Shiv Sena Uddhav Bhai Thackeray faction ended up winning it. Then after that, we again this year had MLC graduates and constituency elections, in which MVA was stronger than the BJP. And most recently, we had 2 bypolls, the Kasba Pet and Pimpri Chinchwad, both in the Pune district. That was a huge loss for the BJP because Kasba Pet was its bastion in Pune, and that did come across as an embarrassment for the party. Pimpri Chinchwad, it won, but this particular seat has lessons for everybody. Pimpri Chinchwad, MVA lost because they could not contain the rebellion. There was a rebel candidate to the MVA candidate, and if you look at the number of votes this rebel candidate had, then it's very clear why the BJP won. If those votes had been transferred to the MVA, then
that candidate was from Shiv Sena, right?
Yeah, it's from Shiv Sena. So all of these bypolls and elections, if you look at them closely, this is exactly what can happen. If MVA stands unitedly, is able to contain rebellion, then there would be numerically the verdict would be in the MVA's favor. But MVA being able to contain rebellion in each and every seat it's difficult to say the least, because they've fought as opponents and there are political ambitions of individual leaders at the local levels involved. So they'll really have to work on that. Plus, on top of that, if you constantly have this sword hanging over the NCP that they may split, that will pull them down even further. But at the same time, for the BJP and Shiv Sena, there is an understanding that Eknath Shinde's MLAs in certain places are having a strong backlash because the perception is that they rebelled because they wanted power. And this constant bickering, even if it is in terms of undercurrents about how there's no cabinet expansion happening, how we were not really accommodated, and how suddenly these ED cases against a bunch of them disappeared. I mean, not much is really being done on it, and nobody is asking any questions. So there's a section of the population that is angry against these MLAs. So not all 40 of them are likely to win again if they stand for elections. So a lot is at play over here. It's very difficult to predict that the sympathy will go this way or that way, and elections are still 1.5 years down the line if they're not preponed. And the ground situation can change considerably, considering how in the past 2 years Maharashtra's politics nobody had foreseen that it would be what it is today. So
The
premature.
big question, Mansi, is will the MBA remain in the same shape and size as it is today by 2024?
What happens in Karnataka elections, what happens in Madhya Pradesh and the Lok Sabha elections, and all of that will decide where the MBA will be. So that's about it for now. There are a lot more questions at this point, and there are answers, and not just for us, but even within the NCP, MLAs have a lot more questions than they have answers. But one thing is for sure, as DK said right at the beginning of the episode, no smoke without fire. Something is definitely brewing. There are things to watch out for. In summary, first, the Supreme Court judgment and what happens in the Karnataka elections and the assembly elections that are scheduled for later this year. Which will really determine which way Maharashtra's politics is also headed, because Maharashtra is a state that contributes the second highest number of MPs to the parliament, and it is an important state for both sides. That's about it. I'm Manasi Phadke, Deputy Editor with The Print. Thank you so much for joining us, DK, and do keep watching The Print for more on political analyses.
Thank you.